When it comes to this console generation, I think the Switch is a standout for multiplayer. Heck, with a design that's even built around splitting off and sharing a controller for local co-op, the system definitely aims just past single player. Because of these integral design features, it makes sense that a lot of killer multiplayer experiences have found their way onto the console, with a select bunch showing off designs that break the entire concept's conventions. So that's why today, I wanted to throw some love to 7 games that I think use their mechanics to do a particularly sweet job at thinking just broader than player 1. Hey there, I'm Skip the Tutorial, and this is Game Bites, an appreciation of the best bits of design across gaming as a whole. And on that note, if this is your first time here, then make sure to gang up on that subscribe for weekly insights into your favorite mechanics. Reload mechanics are a weird bit of design. I'm sure you can picture the situation. You're playing your average plain Jane shooter, when you finally spray through the entirety of your ammo mag. And now it's time to reload. Most of the time, this means that you're locking into a stock reload animation that could eat up the next few seconds of your playtime, while also dampening your movement speed for the action's runtime. Both of which are crucial handicaps when you're logging some hours in a shooter's ranked mode. But leave it to the EAD, or Entertainment Analysis and Development Division, over at Nintendo to flip this industry standard on its head in a bonkers creative way. Enter 2015's freshest new IP, Splatoon. A game covered in more innovative mechanics than a map after turf war. With a central focus on spraying ink across the floor, players build up a lot of coverage by burning through the valuable resource. But when your ink vat runs dry, the game takes what could have been a slog and turns it into a key tactical moment with the coveted ink swim. Being a half kid, half squid inkling means that you can switch over to a cephalopod at any time and swiftly maneuver through your graffiti-style sprays, all the while refilling that very same resource. This creates a breakneck feel of pace, as you can constantly be working full speed toward an objective. Be it spreading your color across the map, splatting enemies, re-entering the fight, or maybe even bailing out of one. Where other games' reload systems might take your options and limit them, Splatoon lays out a vast array and lets you know that, in fact, the world is your oyster. Sorry, I was contractually obliged to have at least one ocean pun in this. Right from its original reveal back on October 20th of 17, it was obvious that the Switch was built for local multiplayer. Heck, you can feel it from the second you snippety snap off your Joy-Cons and pass one to your pal. So when Nintendo's flagship launch title of Zelda Breath of the Wild was slated as single player, they knew they'd also need a slick co-op experience to boot. These are the circumstances under which the Super Flash Brothers of Newgrounds fame were brought on to publish their ridiculously creative 2-player puzzler, Snipperclips. Partnering with the launch of the system, the game certainly achieved its goal of showing off split Joy-Con play. But that's not to say its stellar design just stops here, but also extends to how the game facilitates the communication necessary for cooperative play, such as through the variable undo system. Say you and your bud Steven are rolling through the silly science chapter, taking on stages until you land on the game's 5th make the cut stage, tasked with creating a sort of championship belt shape in the given purple paper. The two of you start testing out different methods, each leading the strategy in your own direction. Attempting your idea, you try to make good old Steve into a circle, but before you hit that final curve, an analog slip up means you just miss nailing that perfect round edge. Now instead of having to fully reset all of your hard work, you can just have your pal give a tap on the undo button and give it a second go. However, after the whole circle debacle, you set out on another idea to make the rectangular bands, get 4 cuts deep, but then realize it's just not gonna, well, cut it. So taking that same button, you hold it all the way down and come right back to your fresh snip, or clip face. While this is kind of a minute feature, I think it's such a crucial backbone to the game's co-op design. Having this range of cleanup moves means that the 2 players can feel more comfortable to explore with their different ideas, since it's fully possible to come back from a mistake, be it in communication or gameplay. Because obviously, unless you're some kind of mind-linked Siamese twin clones, there's gonna be elements out of sync when you play. And Snipperclips proves that, overall, this is okay. Mario's tennis career has been all over the place. His first attempt into the sport was a pack-in title for Nintendo's historic failure of the Virtual Boy, way back in 1995, when, apparently, only the color red had been invented. From this rocky start, the pro player's been everywhere from heartwarming single-player tours in the GBA, to the GameCube version's canvas painting, and even to the Wii U title, which is a game that exists. But out of this hectic sports series, I firmly believe that Mario Tennis Aces serves up the most innovative bit of game design, the zone gauge, restructuring the entirety of the series' prior genre. This little stoplight colored ring in the top left effectively transforms Aces from being just a party tennis game and takes it right up to the level of strategy seen in fighting games. Charged by pulling off various different traditional tennis moves, such as keeping up a rally or scoring some killer last-minute saves. Building the gauge provides the player with a myriad of different opportunities. Right off the bat, the zone-themed moves you can perform each have their own branching paths. Do you counter that out-of-reach lob with zone speed, or do you save up to deflect against a tougher drop shot? Maybe you lean offensive and want to throw down some drone strike zone shots at your opponent. But even then, do you go for an easy point or play it risky by shooting for a racket break KO? This constant back and forth as you juggle not just between your offensive and defensive abilities, but also your regular and zone-powered tennis moves, gives each set a rip-roaring sense of action that you just can't see at Wimbledon. Riding high off the October reveal of the system, Nintendo had a lot of hype going for them when they ran the Switch's January presentation. During their trailer showcase, one particularly springy Rock'em Sock'em style game stuck out amongst the rest. Debuting later that same year, ARM sprung into the fighting genre with a new wave of exciting mechanics that juiced up the gameplay to some crazy heights. With a colorful cast with some amazing breadth in their designs. Each match you played felt like a mix of electricity being shot straight to your controller and your eyeballs, creating a great environment for multiplayer experiences. And while you could just lean the traditional fighting game competitive ladder, I believe the real online intrigue was the game's party match system. Entering into a room, you and a small group of other boxers are each represented by a character portrait. Pretty standard stuff. However, it's how the game sets up these matches with these character heads that really sticks out to me. Taking different combinations of characters and thrusting their bubbles into various matchups, the mode wastes no time pairing up face-offs. From here, you and a number of the other fighters in the lobby will go into various team or free-for-all challenges. But say you didn't make the cut. The party mode screen keeps you engaged through charmingly simplified demonstrations of the ongoing game's real time. While this can just be written off as fun visual stimulus while you wait, it also serves to show you key details about the winning and losing streaks of your fellow members, which is crucial information when the game rewards free rush gauges to struggling players, but might cap the HP of someone getting a little too big for their britches. Having a constant idea of the amount of coins that certain players have built up gives incentive for concepts very reminiscent of more traditional couch multiplayer gameplay, like how you and your pals might team up against that one friend and knock them off their high horse. Partnered with the ability to drop in and out of the mode at your discretion, the whole experience provides for an excitingly fun and snappy environment to just loosen up the old spaghetti noodles. You can't talk about great multiplayer experiences without mentioning Ghost Town Games' magnificent Overcooked series. Kicking off in 2016 to rave reviews, fans and critics alike were quick to praise the creatively hectic gameplay stylings of this cooperative gem. So when a port came to the Switch come 2017, it was a no-brainer to pick up a copy upon its release. However, this port wasn't exactly perfect, showing off some frame rate issues that hinder the quick reaction times needed to score high enough rankings for the 3-star system. There were unnecessary difficulty spikes when playing through the story mode. That being said, the strength of its potential on the platform was definitely seen through the large support of the port's release. And plenty of players, myself included, were chomping at the bit for a sequel, and boy did the whole team over at GTG and Team 17 knock that out of the park and then some. With Overcooked 2 launching on the Switch with great improvements, as the game was built from the ground up with the system as a focus, on top of just the graphical and performance bumps. The sequel also introduces a new mechanic, the throw, that turns the intensity to an 11 on an experience that was already pretty heated, while passing around the raw materials necessary for the game's multiple different recipes. You'll start messing with using the X button to chuck around ingredients for quality of life improvements, such as tossing a head of lettuce to your pal to chop, or even draining 3 straight into the cooking pot. This keeps the game's momentum at a boiling point, as trying to catch a flying sheet of seaweed pushes the precision of your teamwork to new heights, as missing to throw could cost you more time than the move might have saved. And while this does serve as a fun time boost in the earlier stages, later levels lean heavily on a proper use of this concept, as you and your sous chefs are split up amongst different river rafts. And that's another way I think the game treats this slightly unhygienic mechanic properly. The fact that you can use this ability from the outset benefits curious cooks who experiment with it in the earlier stages, since they'll be Gordon Ramsay master chefs of the concept by the time they reach the game's more difficult missions. But overall, take this core mechanic, season it with a little bit of teamwork, a dash of risk, and I think you got the perfect dish to share with your friends. So dig in. Battle Royales are no stranger to the gaming scene. Now I'm not going to be one to sit here and try to pinpoint the exact big roots of the genre popularity, as I've seen some arguments spanning from H1Z1 to even Minecraft survival games. You know the song and dance by now. 100 players dropped in an ever-shrinking arena must fight using gathered weapons and materials until one is finally crowned the victor, or 2 if it's duos. Heck, I guess even 4 if you're running squads, but my point is, I'm sure plenty of you are familiar with the concept of the genre. But when it comes to innovation in the gameplay style, there's really only one key differentiation that stands out amongst the slew of other titles to me, and that of course falls right to Epic Games' Fortnite for its famous building system, carrying over from the game's PvE history with its Save the World mode. You have the ability to use whatever wood, stone, or metal scraps you can scavenge from your surroundings to construct any number of stairs, roofs, floors, and of course, walls. Now the strategies developed from this key mechanic are vast, as players now have the opportunity to lay out everything from a sweet vantage point for poking headshots, to some elaborate scaffolding to cross bodies of water or scale the various mountainscapes, to even just scoring some time out of the crossfire with temporary cover. Heck, to use an earlier example, a chunk of Minecraft Hunger Games servers don't even let you have this vast building capability, and how does that make any sense? On top of all the key bits of strategy that stem from this gameplay element, I also believe it lends the game a fair amount of the greater accessibility that has led to its popularity, as success in a conflict doesn't just come down to your aiming skills. But in the end, we all know that the real best mechanic offered up by Fortnite is being able to thank the bus driver, unquestionably. I'm convinced that no matter what continent, country, or even culture you belong to, if someone offers up a couple of races of Mario Kart, you're gonna say yes. It's just that universal. Defined for its party game nature, the series historically features multiple mechanics that allow for less skilled players to still have a fighting chance. Most prominently, the variable item box distribution of abilities, as slagging behind will net you some rare goodies, but with an early lead all you can score is pocket change. Heck, even Lakitu's caught some serious helicopter parenting habits, not even letting you drive in reverse in more recent Mario Kart titles. But to me, one of the most compelling bits of accessibility added in my Mario Kart 8's Deluxe Edition was the inclusion of smart steering. Indicated by a flashy yellow antenna springing right up from your back bumper, this mode does exactly what it says on the tin, and provides an extra helping hand for staying on track to racers that might need it. And while at face value, this seems like a pretty harmless handicap option, this mechanic did catch some flack for auto-defaulting to on, but I would argue that this is the best way to implement the feature. Tucking it away in one of the game's option menus, or leaving it off at the same spot in the car customization screen would have defeated the point. Making it opt-out ensures that players who need it have it on, but more experienced and familiar racers have full range to play with their own skill. In fact, true racers are encouraged to switch it off, since certain shortcuts and optimal strategies are blocked by the smart steering mode. In short, if you want to build some distance in your races, you're gonna have to take off the training wheels. But as a whole, I find it pretty wholesome that I'm able to share one of gaming's greatest experiences with my kid sisters without having to explain the concept of losing when Lakitu sports them that final DQ. Hey there, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video, so make sure to leave your 2 cents right beneath the description. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to whack a slap on that subscribe button to get notified about future Game Bites episodes. But until then, take care, and you have a good one, alright?